welcome to another episode of Abgekocht. Hi Uli, Happy New Year to you. Hope you had a fantastic start to the new year and are doing well.
Hi Matthias. Happy New Year to you as well, pal.
Thanks. Had a good new year?
Yeah, good NY. You?
Yeah. I'd say it was fairly boozy. We were in Augsburg, as usual, taking turns out with friends. Sometimes they're in Hamburg, sometimes we're in Augsburg. We really made the most of it again. We cooked. Enjoyed a little glass of wine together and once more warmly wished each other a very happy new year.
Okay, I'm relieved.
Have you got anything nice planned?
Yeah, basically to stay healthy. That's a basic resolution. Nothing fancy, just plain sense. So, you at least do your best, keep working hard and give it your absolute all.
Stay diligent. It means you're hardworking.
Yeah, you could say that.
Um,
As good as ever.
well, we want to go over the breakfast thing once more properly because we still haven't quite finished discussing it. That was at least my impression and the feedback that I specifically received. We need to go over that again. After that, we'd like to branch into Europe with the topic on the side. How do you lot do breakfast in Europe? And then the trend tours topic, also into Europe, again very food heavy. Then we'll also talk about LinkedIn again, about a post that's coming your way. That one had a pretty solid frequency, a pretty solid reach. So what else are we going to do then? Then we'll go into these features. There were a couple of bits of feedback and some scheduling.
Your special features.
Yeah.
Got topped again.
You could say that, yeah. My special features, my algorithm you accused me of. That it's working again, isn't it though?
No, not accused. It's 100,000% there. And you actually make that happen. And like we briefly talked about earlier, you really make sure it's properly and consistently fed with reliable, up-to-date information.
Okay. You know what my trainers used to always say? He was a cook and she was a pig too. Filthy through and through. That's probably intrinsic. Miriam often says, there goes the cook again, honestly, going along with you. Maybe it's the professional baggage I bring. Thoughts? I don't know, no idea. Can we come back to that a little bit later on? After that, we've still got our nominations to go through, and then there's another small highlight waiting. But first of all, we're really keen to see who's going to send the photos from the Augustina at the Platzel to us in the very near future, please. That went pretty well. So you followed it on Instagram and watched everything unfold there, right?
Yeah, definitely. It went pretty well. There were loads of reactions to the post. I'm curious about that and excited to see what comes of it.
People didn't really get what the criteria were, so just a heads up. We'll probably run another giveaway soon and make the rules a lot clearer and easier to follow next time as well. And the entry rules were that you had to tag 2 people who then follow both our account and the Augustina and Platzel on Instagram as well, please. Many thanks. Oh, I think after 3 or 4 days, I checked once, the Augustina had already followed us. Only 3 new followers, I thought, okay, that's not really fitting. And that versus 60 people entering the giveaway, people don't read anymore, do they? Or what do you think? Why didn't that really work out in the end then?
Maybe people didn't read it, or maybe we did. Perhaps we simply explained it a little bit more poorly, even though it was fairly clear. Well, I don't know either. If you read it properly, it's 2 episodes, all good, no real problem. But maybe it really is that fast-paced thing. Just kind of skim reading. Just turn it on for a sec.
Scroll.
Yes.
Make longer.
No. I definitely read it if it interests me. Or if something catches my eye, I'll read it straight through from A to Z.
Okay, you've accused me of that a few times, saying I didn't read it to the end and merely skimmed it rather quickly.
I'd even bet I was right about that, really.
Are you that fussy?
No fuss?
Oder
Or are you adding something extra on at the very end?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, exactly. Like Easter eggs. Nah, you can tell when someone doesn't say it. No, seriously.
Do you do that? No. Do you sneak anything in at the end to test whether he read all the way through? No.
No, I don't think so. Maybe subconsciously, yeah.
All right, that would be really interesting. Right, breakfast. I'll have to bring that up once more, honestly. I think we covered that pretty well in the last episode, I reckon. Not completely final, though. I recall the discussion where you said, well, okay, the Germans are just Germans. Bread heavy, they need loads on the breakfast buffet. They're just a bit special. I came with my protein thing from Marks and Spencer, with the egg on English leaf spinach, or maybe even the proper full-on full Irish breakfast, actually. You know what came back to me? That the discussion, from my perspective, was, pretty muddled, because I'm kind of totally all over the place.
Mad.
Yeah, because I
Oh.
jumped from one topic to another. Yeah, still. But on the other hand, B, I've been accused of being privileged, and people say that a lot.
If you follow the episodes and check out the restaurant recommendation, I'd say there could very well be something to that pretty much, to be honest. Definitely has great taste.
I don't know. Yeah, I
Yes,
might look
no.
after myself, Uli.
Yeah.
In terms of what I put into my body, you could look at it that way.
See that, yeah?
But the privilege thing was that we'd actually already been discussing it at a fairly high level for quite some time. And if you look, we also got feedback from Miriam, who said, okay, 1 in 4 pupils in Germany goes to school without breakfast, as she pointed out, actually.
Those people,
Yeah. They don't focus
Den
on it.
Fokus
They
nicht drauf
just
haben.
don't have
Die haben keine
time.
Zeit.
yeah, no idea why. Sending his kid to school without breakfast is just plain wrong.
I recall an Ein Herz für Kinder broadcast. Before Christmas, they collected donations. At the gala that evening, Uschi Glas was there, and Uschi Glas showed...
You taught the slip up, eh?
Huh? No.
Ask.
Which slip of the tongue?
Yeah, that slip by Ushi Glass, where she mixed up first names.
Uschi did.
What's his name? Palava? Was that Palava?
No, Johannes Beckner.
Yeah, Johannes Bekerner, right. He had this little Freudian slip that quickly went viral online.
Come on, open it.
He literally said, Mushi Ushi Glass.
Oh, kind of a tidy freak, eh?
Ah, I thought it was broken. It was actually pretty fine, really.
Okay, back. She actually helps out with a local community association. In lots of towns and cities across Germany, she regularly serves free breakfast, kind of like a food bank. But for breakfast for pupils, and that's pretty crazy. So you're saying, and then the reason comes like, okay, no time, or like, socially disadvantaged, yeah,
True.
or financially, seriously disadvantaged, so there's simply no money left anymore for breakfast.
But what would be the difference between social and financial? I mean, I think that's kind of a category where you're somehow, for some unknown reason, not really socially well off, that you can't make your kid breakfast. Still, I have to say. What do we mean by breakfast? Breakfast's still the cheapest meal, really, especially for most families on a very tight budget.
I've prepared today as well. There are studies and statistics. The average German spends €2.70 on breakfast. So €2.70 is the average for breakfast. The typical Dane pays about €8. The English, well, they're more meat heavy. Sausages, bacon and all that piled on top of it, really. Then you're at the full Irish breakfast, well, at £9. That's a bit pricier. Why does the German spend less there?
Too low, huh?
That's pretty small.
Okay, discount society. Can I come back? Because like you said about the intro, Germans are Germans. I was more like suggesting that it's actually quite a niche market for those products we talked about last time, to be honest, that it doesn't really reach the bulk of society. But you can tell there's always so much hype about organic stuff, healthy eating, sustainability, this and that, but people still aren't willing. Even then to pay, frankly, a bit more. Above average prices for it.
When Germans eat breakfast out. Another statistic asks, where do they most often tend to head to first?
At Baker.
Right. So they go to the baker's, and then we're back to that one, what you already said last time. The sandwich that then somehow, once again, turns up there.
Hätte ich.
Or that plated breakfast, yeah?
Mhm.
So those are just the classic staples in Germany, right?
Coffee shops come in second, supermarkets and convenience stores third, cafes and breakfast spots fourth. Hotels rank fifth, and when you're on the go at train stations and airports, that's sixth in that exact order overall. But nobody sits down in the morning anymore to have a relaxed breakfast. Most of the time, it's just
Mit der
there.
Familie, ne?
When the family's together Sunday, you have breakfast.
And I had.
Äh,
In December, someone come up to me. There's a hotel chain that wants to improve its breakfast selection, its breakfast offerings overall. But then the question is, you really have to see exactly who your guest is. So are you in a 3-star, 4-star, 5-star hotel segment? You've got to check, of course. But who is your guest? Is it the construction worker who just needs lots of extra energy because he does physical work? Or are they tourists or school kids? Is it a mining a hostel? But what could you still improve about the breakfast today? How will you pull that off?
So, first, exactly what you said. Identify the guests so I can tailor the right offer for each one of them. So, right now, it's just the same as always, regardless of breakfast. There's no point making plans if I know. I'm like doing something sustainable, healthy, a bowl concept, but I have no actual clue facing Strabag.
My idea was exactly that. To check it out. What does the guest look like? Where do they come from? Is it a woman or a man, young or older? Do they have to do physical work or mental work? And then maybe, Stel Strauber, I'd said, okay, have a look and try cutting the sugar in cereals as a single, simple starter step to begin with for yourself. You could maybe try that too. Yeah, maybe more plant-based. And Levante is actually another topic. So try cutting down on the sausage a bit. Then he says that's simply not possible. It's really quite simple. The guest complains if he doesn't get 5 different sausages.
But then he does have it. If the guest complains, no kidding, that's his personal market research. So he's indeed already got what he needs, right? So what's the point of that? I mean, you can't really re-educate the guest, can you? So you've just got the guest there and he changes the range for whatever reason and everyone just adapts without any real benefit. The guest complains. So you've got to, if he says he needs those 5 sausages, should I focus on them? The only thing I'd always recommend then is maybe not going for the cheap rubbish. Not for €1.20, but maybe try to tell a story, do something a bit sustainable, maybe look at what's local so you can add a bit more value and appeal to your customers.
So you wouldn't go along with every trend then?
No, not at all, especially if it doesn't make sense. What's the point of having cold-pressed juices on the counter if no one drinks them? What's the point? I think, or rather, I truly believe. Like you said, you really have to tune in to what the guests want. Where am I? Am I in an urban location, or is it rural? Do I have a young crowd? Families, kids, or business customers?
And then you've had the same breakfast offer for 10 years. Is that the result of inertia, complacency, or something else perhaps?
But now we're back to, what about Block? Now we're back at Block. He's been solid with his range for decades. It works. Why do people always just change everything? Never touch a running system. If it's working, it's working. If at some point the guests stop turning up or the demographics shift for whatever reason, then yeah, you'll have a problem. But as long as it's working, why? Why should I really do that?
That's a good approach. So I basically have to be my own. I'm now the general manager, or I'm the F&B coordinator. I don't need to define or prove myself by coming up with some new breakfast buffet innovation.
You can always give things a go. There's no harm in saying you were on holiday yourself or that you somehow got a bit of inspiration at a trade show. I don't know. So you can always try things out. But constantly putting yourself under that pressure and trying to prove something to yourself is really exhausting and draining, to be honest. I'd just give it a go as an extra thing. Then you'll soon see whether it works or not. But I definitely wouldn't let it drive me crazy. And like I said, the customers are the best market research. They'll give you the feedback. That's the consumer. They say they'd like it, what they need.
And if the feedback's negative, he posts it on TripAdvisor and then leaves a review.
If he's good, he asks them. Before rid.
Provided he's always around or people have the time, that doesn't always work. You got a big place, loads of guests.
Doesn't work all the time. Yeah,
You're
you're not faffing about with it every day and all that, but you can still put them on, like, I don't know, on a day when there's a lot of footfall. You could, if interested, think about it. Pop down and ask a few guests. How are you? What's it like? Any requests? Are you happy? Any suggestions? You could do that. If in doubt, you could maybe hand out a questionnaire or something, a feedback card, which they usually leave on the table at the end of your holiday, so you can give some brief feedback about your stay and the service you received. I think you can easily get feedback for free, no effort at all. And then I reckon whoever listens and actually pays attention to the guests, not just their own personal taste, they can now do something great.
Okay. That then also means that behaviors At the touch points where most people go, like bakeries, hotels, or coffee shops, you can't really change the eating habits of an entire population. Certainly not overnight, as habits are deeply rooted and slow to shift. If you always do exactly what is currently being asked of you, or just what's always been demanded, and then you can't complain if, or saying you can't complain might be the wrong way to put it, but then you can't be bothered that a group of people in Germany will actually turn away.
Abwendet.
Yeah.
Also,
Yeah, but that's a thing. I mean, I think we're talking about the same thing. Yeah. I just think it's really a question of how far you push it and where you draw the line and what limits you set. When you
Okay.
say the 80-20 rule, yeah? You've got 80% solid range, the hits, the best sellers, run, work, in their sleep. And the 20%, if it even is 20, that's where you try things out, you mess around, you experiment, you have a look, you swap stuff. And then you've theoretically always got this, I'll say it bluntly, the fringe group that you also cater to, or minority groups, or maybe a trend emerging now. And then what happens? It might end up creeping into your 80%, one product or another. So into your top sellers, into the core range, call it what you like.
So, as a decision maker, do you still get any inspiration from trend tours or anything like that? Any topics where you can still chip in?
Yeah, it makes sense if you're in the industry. Trend tours are, of course, always a thing. They only make sense if it's a proper trend tour.
What's a proper trend tour?
Trend, yeah. That's a huge topic we might open. So for me, a trend tour isn't just about pointing out, here's some tasty rolls, or here's the latest, I don't know, food trend. It's about showing the bigger picture and context behind it. You don't have to get all into bowls or whatever. For me, it's more about deeper insights and more detailed background info. Why has a restaurateur, hotelier, architect been dealing with these, and those particular topics exactly? Why did he come up with that in the first place? How does it work exactly? Why did he, I don't know, develop and design that kind of guest journey? For me, it's about a lot more than just walking into somewhere and having a proper little look around. Like, cool, shown, snap a pic, go.
du,
What they sell as a trend tour.
Yeah, there are a few different providers on the market here in Germany. I'm not sure. There's Pianier House and Deutsche Fachverlag also runs an event tour around here. Chef's Culinat runs the event tours, and I think Adeka does too, as a food service provider. And then there are loads of others too, like Andrew Fordyce's really popular street food tours all across Manchester city centre. Have you ever been on one of Andrew's tours? Okay, so on a trend tour, you're basically asking to go into the back of house, meet the owner, get some key numbers, and generally get a lot more
ja, auf jeden
info
Fall.
instead of just being handed a tiny sample to try, to see how things run day to day and hear the story behind the concept so you truly understand how it operates.
Komm,
Exactly. I'm talking about trend tours here right now. Well, they're not cheap, are they? If you ever,
Yeah, you can pay £1,000 for that now.
no worries. Plus travel, plus this, plus that, plus
da
the whole
plus den ganzen
shebang.
And you
Spiritus
don't get
drumherum.
everything included everywhere, right? No,
And
vendors
Ja, genau, da,
exist.
I've seen some pretty spectacular things. Like what? Exactly. For example, you book yourself onto one of those trend tours, and then there are like 15, 20 people who are on that trend tour with you, all milling about together, chatting. And then we were there. I'll never forget it. It was spectacular. Were we in London? I don't even wonder what it's called anymore. That hotel that tapers to a point. Yeah, you definitely know it. Anyway, there's a bar up there. The hotel was brand new, so you go into that bar. It was a mixed crowd, from older people to young. And there was this girl there who'd actually got it as an incentive, you know, from her employer. Basically, a work perk they'd arranged and paid for on her behalf. So,
Ja,
mate, you get to come on the
cool.
separation tour.
Ja,
Cool. Yeah. But what I didn't know, and honestly, I didn't expect, I was that naive back then, that you're, of course, sat at one of those tables and they just send the order down to the bar where it's prepared and then brought back to your table. If I remember right, the
wenn
gin
ich
and
mich.
tonic cost about 40 quid, I think, to be honest. Seriously, wow.
Wow,
At the
in der
bar.
Bar.
Yeah, the yard could be so.
Das
Could
kann
be,
sein,
yeah.
der Yard.
So, and outrageous prices. Then later it was like the bill was thrown into the middle. Then everyone was supposed to chuck their money into the middle. The girl nearly collapsed. So I quickly went barefoot over to the mate who'd organised the trend tour and said, "You can't do that. It's our very first day, first bar. How's she supposed to pull that off? She doesn't have the money, does she?" We kept on at him until he finally covered it for the girl and paid up when it really mattered. Thought that was rubbish too.
So that was basically the whole concept. He just takes you around town and shows you some cool places to eat, does he?
Spots.
The concept is a guided sightseeing tour with photos of food spots. All right then, that actually sounds really great.
You can book on Get Your Guide.
Then I could even do something really, like that. Or I could find, beforehand, just some student who's a bit of a foodie and pretty clued up. I did that once. I was in Ho Chi Minh City with my son. And we booked one of those food trend tours with students who showed us around. And proper locals, yeah? And it was awesome. Honestly, it was a really, really cool trend tour. Obviously without those insights and stuff, but that's how you end up getting to all those local spots you otherwise wouldn't. That's fine, but it wasn't €1,000. I think we paid a uni, once converted.
And with that €1,000 tour in London, it wasn't made clear beforehand that you'd basically be footing the bill yourself.
So, just to get back to that, yeah? Maybe I didn't read the T and C's, but I certainly didn't expect it.
Were you the only one bothered by that? No, actually, everyone was. Everyone?
Alle.
Everyone, yeah. She collapsed. She was done, asking, how am I going to get through this? That got properly sorted out, but the rest were asking, like, what is that? Well, that's just the business model.
If you're in a responsible position and you're the one making decisions in the restaurant or hotel business, you really should be going on trend tours regularly, at least every few months to stay ahead and informed. Definitely. So get out, have a look around and really take it all in now. To go behind the scenes, meet people and then kind of take something useful and meaningful away from it.
Behind the scenes stuff isn't that simple. So when you run trend tours, I have a few myself and also some from other providers. That, honestly, and you know that too, which is kind of daft in this context now, I mean. Not that it sounds weird or anything, it might sound a bit daft, but I still have to celebrate it. The trend tour you helped organise back then. Anyone who knows me knows I'm not one to fish for compliments. But the fact is, it was definitely the most lasting experience I had, and it genuinely stayed with me for many years afterwards, without fail.
I think.
They'd gone to great
Danke,
pains.
I also paid you €100 to make this happen. Thanks for getting it up there. I'm really embarrassed about this, but I think that's the crux. So you've got to, on the one hand, find cities or places that are really interesting, that are special. And then, in my view, you also need to organise a tour that covers everything around it, including all the local sites and surrounding area, and where, if a decision maker just steps out of his everyday routine for a day or two, for instance, then, in my view, you shouldn't saddle him with having to make decisions. Everything needs to be handed to him on a plate, ready for him to just take. Then the choices about what to eat and drink are already made. It's all included, and I can just go full on for 2 whole days with creative inspiration flowing freely. So I think that I'm still convinced that's completely right, honestly and truly. The art is in finding the right guides. Those who, like you said, open things up, have the contacts and, like a truffle pig, sniff out places really buzzing with sport, bringing you into the heart of the action. Definitely, no doubt.
And that's why I say, if you put in that effort or want to, then that's definitely the most sustainable way and the best long-term option. It still holds up today. How long ago was that?
First time was 16, 17, 18, then we were 19.
Paar Jahre her.
That was a few years ago, and it was just so unusual because otherwise I'd say, already been on a trend tour with almost everyone somewhere or other at one point or another over the years. That's outstanding. I mean, whole galaxies apart, honestly.
Okay, quick note for all listeners and viewers. If you're planning to treat yourselves to a trend tour or to give it a go, feel free to get in touch with Uli. He'll happily help you plan and arrange everything for your visit. Uli has a lot of experience under his belt and can, personally share the goods and the bads from his perspective with a candid, honest take on all of them and some practical tips. And as you laugh, we're not here to bash
Wir
anyone.
wollen hier
Just
nicht
a constructive, friendly
bashen,
chat.
das
No,
machen
no,
wir
no.
nicht.
I can only
Nein.
say, I'm just saying what really doesn't make any sense. Because you can also, like you just said, go and get your guy. There are, the usual reads. Yeah, there are good magazines and trade mags where you can check out the latest the latest bars, restaurants, pop-ups, and new venues and new spots around town, whatever. If you already know you're planning a trip to London, Copenhagen, anywhere really, then you do it to maybe get a little bit of a feel for the place. If you want to save some cash or maybe make a private trip easier to combine, it's worth Googling.
I do too. There's a magazine called E-Filet. It always has restaurant recommendations in it, and they're really good. You can use it to get your bearings, and then, like Melanie said a couple of months ago, she pins it straight into Google Maps for quick reference, easy access, and sharing. Or there's a great book called Where Chefs Eat. It covers everything from food courts to restaurants to bars, and even tucked away local spots and hidden gems chefs really swear by. It's all listed there, neatly sorted alphabetically by city and continent. Yeah, so there are options. And dear listeners, we'll now briefly wrap up the topic of spontaneous trend tours and then hand everything over to Uli. You can find him on Instagram, on LinkedIn. He'll get the contact details from me too.
That's great. Too great.
Yeah, and since we're on the subject of food, you've brought 3 spots for today again. For us to check out and try together. That you'd recommend to our listeners. What's your absolute number 1 recommendation for them right now, hands down?
I didn't sort them into a top 1 to 3. I'll start with Hamburg. Yeah, Hamburg.
My Lil Pearl.
Haven't been long, yeah? About the Spätzle. Is that it then?
Sounds like a Swabian restaurant.
Yeah, it's a Swabian place. If I remember correctly, there are 2 for the Spätzle. One's more of a business spot. The other's, well, a pub. I don't know, but a small, simple local place. They've got the classics, so it's absolutely perfect for you. I'm honestly surprised you haven't been. You've really got to go. I went to the latter. It's a really tiny, cozy little place, and funny enough, even though it's so small, you can still sit down. Like ultra small, I'd say that's about the size of the whole room, and you do have to book ahead. Anyway, what's on?
Spätzle?
Spätzle, Maultaschen. I ate a Spätzle with meatloaf and gravy. Heaven. Really tasty. Super nice, pleasant. You can have a relaxed lunch break there. Chill.
How does Uli find a spot like that? On recommendations from mates, work colleagues?
Kollegen, lass mal da hingehen, oder?
That might also briefly sum up what you meant about magazines. You listen, ask a few questions, then I jot it down. And then, do you ever, by chance,
Okay. Spannend.
end up at a point like that?
I've really got to send my number 1 right back overseas once again. I actually come from a Swabian family. And my gran always ate everything too. And somehow I picked that up as well. I always eat everything too. And I was recently in Ljubljana. And visited a small restaurant there run by Anna Rush, a brilliant chef indeed. One of only 3 female chefs with 3 Michelin stars, though not in her 3 Michelin star restaurant, but she has an outlet. In Ljubljana, a really rather nice, cozy little restaurant. And I enjoyed a 4-course lunch for
4 Gänge
a
für
mere
40
40
Euro
euros.
Course or total?
in Summe.
In total, 4
Okay.
courses for 40 euros. That was absolutely brilliant, and I tried it for the very first time. Raw kale in a starter dish. Super tasty, and then there was also this classic. White cabbage with potato soup, and to my surprise it actually had black pudding in it. It was called Jota. That was the 2nd course. And the 2nd course was so tasty that I cancelled dessert and ordered the soup again as my pudding. That was absolutely brilliant, no kidding. Yeah, why I'm telling you this, about my gran then.
Cabbage soups?
Yeah, really awesome. That was tasty. And in the evening I went out again, but I actually had a slip up there and we'd been discussing, shall we also talk about the fails and the negative restaurant recommendations? We'll do that via personal message
Genau.
to ourselves. But I actually went out again that night and ended up with food poisoning, my first in my life. I picked it up and was really knocked out for 2 or 3 days afterwards. That really wasn't very nice at all, honestly.
But a different one.
Not at Anna Roche's, but in the evening at a different restaurant instead.
What did you have to eat there, eh?
I will not talk about it.
What was going through your head?
I think it was a completely unexpected mussel.
Ooh.
That was in the dish, but it wasn't on the menu, not listed anywhere at all.
It just came with it,
That's
completely
yeah.
by accident. Somehow it got misplaced and wandered off. It must have gotten stuck in the drawer, clinging there until it finally came loose and quite unexpectedly popped out.
Yeah, if you say so. The chef stuck his hand in a drawer. Gotta go. Come on, last guest today.
Sorry then.
Already?
I ate it and she was already eating. It was so mouldy. It was like, I thought, whoa.
Muscle. It really doesn't get brutal.
Yeah, it was awful. That was on Monday evenings, and on Wednesdays I had a workshop with someone, which really messed up my routine quite a bit. I couldn't find the words, so my brain wasn't online either. It was really crazy, honestly, though. That was some very nice making.
But was that like a little shell? What's your
was
second
okay.
recommendation?
Thanks for
No
the-
joke. I mean,
Empfehlung.
size-wise, roughly how big are we talking here exactly? Is it one of those little killer ones or more like a big oyster thing?
No, it's...
Like a tiny shell?
That didn't finish her off,
Yeah.
though. Yeah, my friend, eh?
Spectacular. Nice little shell. I was. In there, not that long ago, that was. A few days ago, for sure, honestly. We were hungry and thinking, what do we do? Where do we go to eat? So we rang around a bit, and everything was a bit last minute. No table booked, or we couldn't get one anywhere nearby at all that same evening. And then I widened the radius a bit towards Bensberg, and then I ended up at...
Oh, yeah, we were at Joachim Wissler's.
Of course not.
Nee.
No, but really close by. Yes, right by Schloss Bensberg, practically next door. Nice, loose box. And I'm a bit torn about it right this moment. I hadn't heard that before. All right, you hadn't heard a lot of it before, but we'll see. It's a restaurant, wine and spirits shop with a cozy atmosphere and takeaway options. Concept store, like you can buy home decor bits and that. Funny enough, I also have the cappies, names I've forgotten now, the ones with the, for example, I was talking about them, with, I don't know, panthers on them with names, whatever. Anyway, they were there. Cosmetics, colourful plates, all sorts. You really could have taken every piece of your furniture that night.
Aha. Okay.
It wasn't cheap. You really have to admit that, mind you now.
Uli, not Chep.
So I think for ox cheek, 39 euros. Oh, 34 euros. Definitely over 30 euros. That. I kind of thought I was like, okay, whatever. I was hungry. Then I had carpaccio. Ox cheek. My wife had the very same one.
Cod. Why even nominate that then, really?
Tasted good.
Okay.
Okay, right, exactly. Was it just too expensive?
Du kommst gerade hier so meine Frau.
Is it really way too expensive?
Nah, no, it was really tasty. The store was cool. The whole vibe was really great overall. We were wondering, someone's got to do the cleaning. That poor sod. But nicely done. With old retro pictures, James Bond on the wall and all. Pretty cool. Loads of Lorraine, awesome food, great atmosphere, good service, and you can definitely relax there. Heinsberg.
A tougher spin on the fine dining concept at Schloss Bensberg. I'm heading off down to Tyrol with my number 2 companion. I was down near Innsbruck in Zams. In this small town, on a short work trip for roughly 1.5 days. And I stayed at a hotel there, the Jägerhof. The name says it all. I mean, literally out in the car park there. I saw 3 or 4 cars there. I don't know if you're familiar with them. Proper hunters. If they've got one of those wire cages on the back of the boot, they've got a bit of kit in there. You know, cars, of course, like you'd expect from that crowd.
Yeah, I mean, I think I've actually seen that wire cage before. Yeah.
Ja,
You wouldn't let me finish.
Definitely
Definitely at that Jägerhof, because it's really traditional but also really tasty, if I'm honest, to be fair, I must say. That fancy place had 3 hats. The fine dining restaurant I didn't go into. I ended up at the more down-to-earth spot and had an outstanding Tafelspitz soup with cheese dumplings, which were absolutely delicious and perfectly made. That was really great. And then I did like Vincent Klink and had a classic Wiener Schnitzel, which I truly savoured, served with a nice crisp salad on the side. There was fresh lemon, no anchovies, none of that. It wasn't there. But the Schnitzel was absolutely amazing. Why am I bringing up Vincent Klink? Have you read the book Ein Bauch, Lust wandelt durch Wien? That's from Vincent Klink, and he basically describes the food, and it was the same for him. He had a Wiener Schnitzel for the main course, and it was so delicious. Then for dessert, he had another Wiener Schnitzel. He simply couldn't resist having it. He did. Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, I think that's great.
That's going in, isn't it?
2 Wiener Schnitzels. Blimey, 2.
That was huge.
So that was the Jägerhof in Zams, if you're
Äh,
still in ski season here, if you want to go skiing around New Year's, a pray. Early January, whatever, then pop into the Jägerhof in Zams. It's definitely worth a visit, so go have a look around. Enjoy it. Your third.
My 3 is now. We've kind of brought up breakfast again, so I've been thinking to myself, where can you get a really awesome breakfast that's actually worth getting up for and even making a special trip for? Or if you want to go for breakfast, what makes sense? Maybe not necessarily. You can of course get something at a baker's, but I was thinking of Bill's in London, Bill's restaurant. And that's already an instance of that very thing right there too.
You can't see it right now, but PY, who we're producing with, actually just briefly nodded along in clear agreement a moment ago. Yeah? So that's a pretty good recommendation, really, to be honest, I guess.
And Bill's is. I think, if I remember, well before Corona, they were a lot more. In England as a whole, they've got about 40 or 50 places, and roughly 10 in London altogether. My hotspot, my favourite spot, is in Soho. And if you, well, you can eat there all day. So it's not really an all-day breakfast place, but breakfast is definitely what their main focus, and you can go from fantastic pancakes to everything Eggs Benedict, and you can really make the very best of it, no question at all. So you can't go wrong. You should definitely go. One thing you must do is maybe include an anecdote and a short link about trend tours and make sure to reserve a table. I've never seen anyone just walk in like that, maybe on your own, but if you're 2, I'd say there's no chance. It's always packed, honestly, pretty much.
Hard at 15.
So we were on a trend tour back then, and then the guy said, hang on, wait here a sec, I need to ask. We're a bit early. I'll just quickly check if that's all right, to ask if we could maybe get in earlier. So we waited outside for about 10 minutes, and I was like, honestly, he hadn't booked. And what happened? Yeah, they'd messed up the reservation. I was like, you're a complete idiot. No way. So yeah, that's the point. You absolutely have to book ahead. It's really well worth it, honestly.
Builds London. Very good. For my last recommendation today, I'm off to Hamburg. And I'm at the Hobenkirk. That's a market hall in Oberhafen, outside Hafen City. Thomas Sample's a committed slow food activist, totally into Demeter and sourcing locally, and a proper champion of sustainable eating. Top bloke.
Lovely.
Great spot, the market hall. You can buy everything you eat there. They've got deli-style food displays. Meat, sausage, everything. Fish. Now they've got an Austin bar, and I went there with my family. We ate there. And I had a beef tartare there on that visit, actually. It was so very delicious with a buttermilk dark rye.
Now let me guess, you just went and ate it again, didn't you?
No. Oh, right, no, not that extreme. No, it doesn't have to be like that. But that was actually really awesome. Honestly, it totally blew me away. Tasty. I'd recommend that to anyone. Put it on your list as an alternative to Spätzle Spa.
And always a stop on food trend tours, a must-see for anyone following the latest culinary crazes today.
On a Hamburg tour, huh?
Yes, always. So definitely always on the clock. And I know that right now, where it's new. So saying came out is always a weird word, but where it opened, it's always been a spot. Very, very often, honestly. It is really worth it.
Yeah, so absolutely recommend it. Cool. Concept. Elena will link our 3 recommendations on Instagram again and also add them to the category so we can read up on them, easily find all the details later, and even see brief notes about each one, plus quick links and timestamps. The posts will be back, and now jumping back again. Last time I really raved so enthusiastically about the whipped cream dispenser. Do you know who called me? This is Thomas Salz. He is the managing director of Easy Germany. I actually have a bit of history on that. We rang up. Mate Matthias, that was a great tip. Your smørrebrød from Denmark, and gushed about it to everyone. We absolutely loved it. And I thought it was brilliant what Oliver Wendell sponsored for you there. So why don't we pitch in and do something as well? So Thomas Satz, Easy Deutschland GmbH, has actually been very generous and provided a few cream dispensers for you as well indeed. And we talked it over and said, okay, let's do it again. Let's run another giveaway, make it even bigger this time, and invite more people. We want to. Listen, we're not exactly the giveaway podcast, to be completely honest, even if this is already our 3rd giveaway.
But second time in 3? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
It's fine.
yeah.
It's not getting out of hand.
I agree. Dear industry partners, feel free to contact us. Not right away, though. Not straight away.
Jeder,
And we're not expecting him to do
das war
that
jedes
today.
Mal.
That's sweet of him.
Das
Totally
er
awesome.
auf
Yeah.
uns. Ja, genau.
There are like 2 or 3 really cool packages in there. Elena's going to put it on the Weeder Instagram page. And please, read the terms and conditions once. You only qualify if you tag and then follow them. Make sure you do both steps to be eligible, no exceptions. So keep in mind we'll easily pack the prize pot full with entries. Yeah, right? Nah, no chance really.
Definitely. So read it right to the end. Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah. Like always read everything to the end and then sometimes it actually works out.
You're a tad bit pricklier with me.
Yep, says the pro.
Ja, genau.
Correct.
I had in... What was that? In December I put out a post. Back to your ox cheek, 39 euros. I had an experience in Vienna. I ended up in a vegan burger joint called Swing Kitchen while I was visiting there as well, actually. They don't make a big deal about everything being vegan. It just is, really. And they'd booked me a burger, fries, a refill drink and ketchup, all together, just around 16 euros or so in total. Nice. I checked the receipt. They even charged me €1.60 for the ketchup of all things too.
So you bought a set menu. If I've got that right, you actually paid for a meal
Yeah.
deal, but they itemized it separately. Yeah, exactly right.
Yeah.
And in that meal deal, the ketchup wasn't included. You had to buy it extra. I specifically ordered it separately,
Ach so.
and it cost
Ach
€1.60,
so, okay.
which I was charged at the till. I took that as an excuse to put up a post on LinkedIn. Shall we maybe talk about it a bit now? I mean your new €30 for ox cheek. I think that's still all right. But I just asked my followers on LinkedIn. Like, do you see it as a rip-off, or is it still reasonable to pay that kind of price in your view? And I had over 22,000 views on that thing in 4 days, which generated an insane number of comments. To be honest, no joke, that's really a lot, seriously. Over 30 comments, it went every way. One guy said to me, no joke really, you've simply got to read properly, read the whole thing through. The restaurateur makes you an offer, and you accept it. If you accept that, it's your fault.
Yeah, fine. You can see it one way or the other.
Me too. Other Anna Feudal, best regards, from Devilay, said, okay, if you, know the purchase price, right, then the selling price is kind of really high anyway in practice. She didn't explain it, but it really wouldn't be like that at all. Then someone asked me, what would your price have been? I mean, what would have been? A reasonable, acceptable price?
Yeah, he pretty much answered the question himself, didn't he, though?
The
Der
acceptable
Aktionarius, ne?
price, right? Tim Plas said more or less the exact same thing, honestly. So it's the whole thing. The overall impression, all the surrounding stuff, the entire experience is what counts, and ultimately how it makes you feel in the end. I really struggle with going up to the counter myself, placing my order, standing there waiting, carrying my own food to a table, and then watching some person scoop something out of a big bucket and ladle it onto my plate, and it feels exposed and a bit humiliating. And I even posted that as a reply. €23.40 per kilogram for ketchup, honestly. That's really something, wow.
Wow.
If those weren't organic
Yeah,
maggots,
yeah.
then that's a rather tricky one, wouldn't you say?
Oder?
Yeah. The question is, I've been following it. The question generally is ketchup a logical addition to the product or an add-on, more of an obvious upselling thing to boost revenue? That's the general query to ask yourself in this context.
Makes sense to say, okay, the burger menu comes with ketchup, mayo, whatever you want, and that's all included as standard with your order at no extra cost.
Yeah. That's the question. What would you call that?
I had sweet potato fries and I don't know what got into me. In the end, I just went ahead and ordered ketchup with them anyway for some reason. But I'd be fine with that. Someone's got to pay. So you'd basically cover it through the burger's higher price, so it's just included in the end. And I really don't mind paying a bit extra for the convenience. So it's just included in the menu deal, yeah.
Or just don't slap on such a crazy price. I'd say stick to an acceptable one. So my personal view is, first of all, it's a burger concept, so you can generally ask yourself whether it's smart to set prices like that, or whether you might when it comes to pricing, I mean for the higher end. Maybe really focus on those add-ons, double onions, like that upselling thing, caramelized onions, like I don't know what, or premium sauces. Ketchup, mustard, and mayo are basic products. Totally comparable. Everyone knows the prices and is used to them. That's such a product. McDonald's and Burger King do it. I find it tricky to set prices like that. So it's more counterproductive. It sticks in people's minds long term, that kind of thing. It's kind of stupid. So I'd rather just focus. That's the sort of price I'd say. I'll go for 50 cents then, or stays just under €1, because people are used to it as a staple. This price, or include it, which I do. So it's not even up for discussion. And I'll focus on the upselling. So like I said, where the cost of goods is brilliant in the end. But nobody really gets it because it can generally be billed as more premium or hyped up. The ketchup thing is complete bullshit. I honestly don't know who exactly did it. A rip-off is 100% the right verdict.
€1.60.
€1.60, okay?
Yeah. I later checked it on the website and looked at the product specs because I wanted to see if they'd simply not communicated it well. So is it sort of homemade from Demeter? Organic and good quality, so you could reasonably justify paying £1.60 for it, I guess. I'd say, honestly.
What? Ketchup really isn't premium, is it?
Doesn't...
Yeah, exactly. You can do whatever you want. Demeter up and down, you can say it's a hand-picked tomato that you pressed it with your feet. Same story. With the feet, yeah, with delicate little feet. Feet again, honestly, really, seriously. Oh, God. Oh, God. Yeah. I mean, no idea. Forget it. It's never going to have a premium image. Don't hold your breath for that to happen. That's why it's totally pointless to put those ridiculous prices up. And again, it's just someone clearly didn't bother to think it through properly. Or they couldn't care less either. And that brings us back to the point. It's exactly what I've been saying all along about the price. That, I think, is a pretty arrogant and dismissive comment, unnecessarily provocative. We've got the God-given frequency. They'll come anyway, the people will. And I've had to put up with hearing that for many, many years at a very big, very reputable in the market, where the franchise partners, not all, not across the board, but some, would always say exactly that. And lo and behold, at some point that's over as well, as you know.
Someone even posted that as a comment. That you can't expect anything else from a tourist hotspot like Vienna because it's, well, here today and gone tomorrow, and that's really just the way it is, if you ask me. Honestly, you know. I've been wondering about the restaurateur. Why is he doing that? €1.60. So, it's actually pointless because right now with the whole discussion, it's difficult, so no win. Anna Feudal said that too. So, you created more negative vibes than any margin you had, which ultimately wiped out whatever small advantage remained. Because with that 1.60, what remains for the discussion we're having here now? It's just a shame. It was great for us. Thanks a lot. We'll keep putting out prompts like that on LinkedIn now and then, and try to pick them up here again, continuing the conversation afterward. Last time we asked you about my algorithm, keyword hotel features, ring for champagne, or other similar little things and such. Have you guys had any, I don't know, Uli, did you get any feedback on that from anyone yet? I've received plenty, but did you by any chance get any feedback from special hotel features?
Me personally? No,
Right.
not a single one. But,
It's okay.
right, that might also just be
So thanks to everyone out there.
they already knew who to turn to.
Yes, Jackie.
Got a similar algorithm running. Soulmate.
Okay, now I'm going to quote. The soulmates of mine who've gotten in touch. Jacqueline got in touch. The Tree Hotel is apparently in Sweden, and there's a slide there as well. From the bedroom straight into the living room or into the garden.
February.
That's cool, right?
That's
That's got
fun.
that fun factor. Yeah, that fun factor. Sebastian got in touch about the Palm. Classic. There's also a restaurant where you've basically got an aquarium in your room, like you sleep next to the fish. Not swim, sleep. Yeah, that's cool too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's definitely really cool, honestly.
Awesome feature. Joachim. A gamer. Gaming suites. He said he absolutely couldn't get out of there all night. So you had, what did he say? There was actually a proper VR station and a PlayStation in the room. No need to go to the hotel, eh?
Yeah, and to be honest, I think that's fine. It's pretty cool. But even with my last complaint at the Superbood, you've got one of those little not a Game Boy, one of those old Nintendo things, in every room as a bit of gamification. A gimmick. As a gimmick, yeah. So it's cool now, but I think it's just another hook to get people to part with their money. Yeah.
A personal tip for you. A special feature for the guys who really love their car. On Saturdays, always polish it in the yard. Is there a B-Mine hotel in Frankfurt? Right there at the airport, by any chance?
I know it. I was already in there. I slept in it.
Your car?
By car. No, not by car. Not by car. I've already seen it. I even stayed the night there, exactly for that reason, to check what's there. You can actually drive up there in your car, easily.
You take the lift straight into your hotel room, and then you've got your car basically parked on the balcony. Exactly.
And I thought it was kind of funny. It's called Gateway Gardens, right there at Frankfurt Airport, of all places. The only thing is, and that's why I only went once, in the regular rooms you can't open any of the windows there.
Not great, isn't it?
No, it really messed me up. That's why I don't want to sleep in rooms where the windows won't open.
Yeah, there are many other features. That's a
This is
feature.
a feature.
Right on.
A feature opens windows.
Yeah,
Useful,
yeah.
eh?
A feature would be good. Opening windows would be good. That chord's still in my head. I must bring it up again.
Yeah, it's kind of.
What's this nonsense? A cord, like a rope, huh? A rope's hanging down there.
Yeah, sure.
What on earth is that bloody rope for? What exactly are you doing with that rope right at this moment? Are you writhing all over that rope? I mean, if anything, you'd need 2 ropes or something, or like a swing or something. And what's the deal with the rope? What's that supposed to be? What's a rope for? What good is a rope? You hold on to it. What is this rope? That's completely pointless, to be honest, really.
Our listeners still don't know what's going on with the rope. Mind if I offer a quick explanation?
Yeah,
Sorry,
okay.
Julian.
So-
I'll just get myself ready.
Yeah.
It's a
With
freestanding
these-
box spring bed placed
Inside.
right in the middle of the room with no walls nearby, completely standalone. And there's a cord hanging down over the bed.
Yeah, exactly. You know,
You
whoever
look, that's
hears
good.
that will feel what I feel. It's pointless. What can you make of it, honestly, then?
You can pull the cord, and a curtain will then come all the way around the bed for privacy.
Oh, I didn't finish that. I was already totally caught up
Yeah,
in my
sieht-
own little
ja.
delusion just then.
Du-
What's
du-
something like that doing hanging from the ceiling? But okay,
Du
all right.
hattest-
So my God, wow. Yeah, okay. Why? Is that actually placed there in the pedestrian area or what?
It's in the hotel, but everything else is up to your imagination. Welcome to my world, Uli.
I like it, yeah.
That I'm not the only one, and that you're not doing well anyway, that certain things instantly, and sometimes unexpectedly, trigger all kinds of wild fantasies in you. And that's lovely. You're human, that's good. Lastly, I also have the Villa Viva myself. It's new, in partnership with Jens Roker from Heimathafen Hotels. It's been open in Hamburg for, I don't know, about a year now. And 2 people there personally designed all the suites and the large rooms themselves. That was Barbara Schöneberger, who stocked the entire suite with extra large fridges and loads of really tasty food. And the other thing is like a smoking corner, a spot in Yandel's suite, where you can like smoke a little bit there in the room if you feel like doing so. And that's actually pretty darn nice.
Is it then, when we're talking about features, something like the Net, perhaps, right? Do you know that place in London where there's an old bank? It's a hotel now, really high end, but it used to be a bank, and down below they filmed Goldfinger in the vault. Is that a feature too then? Would that fall into that category?
I wouldn't say so. We just wanted it for a hotel room.
Okay,
Yeah,
mental.
exactly. And then I'm more likely in Berlin. I know a few spots around there.
The Knast. It's called the Knast too, but not the one in front of the hotel. That kinky hotel, yeah, I have to, sadly. I know YouTube will catch my stunned face, but I'm puzzled by your algorithm. I've got kinky ropes hanging from the ceiling, bondage gear,
Okay,
and spreader
okay.
bars set up in the hotel room, and it's all very
Yeah.
obvious and hard to miss when anyone walks in, so I can't work out how the system hasn't flagged it already, which makes it even more bizarre that nothing's
Yeah.
been done about it so far.
I glance at the clock. Time's really running out. Maybe, yeah, that's right.
Let's pause briefly where it gets interesting.
Haben wir noch
What
eine
about the prison?
How about prison?
What's that kinky hotel? What's that then? Jail? Kinky? What's that?
Well, there's one in Berlin. And I should apologise because I've done a podcast in the past, and I had a guest who actually runs that prison. She was the operator of the place at the time. Where they have special events, gallery openings. Nice things happening. Like for that crowd who mess about with leather straps around their necks or whatever. Just having fun. Okay.
With a
Sì.
crematorium on site.
No, it's not that
No.
extreme. But it's probably more about desire and
aspetta.
ultimately more about tolerance at its core. I still haven't taken her up on her invitation, and if you're asking me now whether I've ever been there, no, I honestly haven't at all, because that's really not my kind of scene. But let's step back into your world for a moment briefly. Have you got a fan club nomination with you by any chance? A great hotel?
Yeah, I've actually got one, but that's kind of the direction I was thinking. But then it's also doesn't really fit because actually I kind of just sort of drifted past the room a bit. So I kind of thought a bit about the whole hotel thing and I mulled it over a little longer actually. Las Vegas Lodge in St. Cassian. Inch. South Tyrol. At 2,050 meters, I think that's nomination worthy because it's basically a winter mountain style place, like a ski hut, a cozy alpine ski lodge through and through. So it's happening in the... Right now, it's proper high life. There's champagne and all sorts of high life stuff. So the party's already going off, but in summer, you can really enjoy it a lot. You're there at 5 or 6, they shut the lift on you, and you're totally on your own up there. Nobody's there but the operator, and I think there are. Only 6 or 7 rooms. So it's a really small restaurant, really tiny, just a few little tables for the people who are there. We were there. I think we were almost alone, just the 2 or 3 of us. A couple were still there, having an absolutely amazing time. Great food. Funny enough, the owner is also called Uli, the owner-operator. And he also offers that in summer, you can at least do some mountain biking with him in the evenings over the mountains, like back then. There's nobody there, no walkers, nothing. They zip about. Brilliant. And that's why it was nominated for Panoramic View. Restaurant view is insane. Or you can sit in the hot tub or barrel sauna and...
Nice.
There's nobody there. You really can't hear a thing. You don't come
Film.
down either, do you? Only with the...
Cable car. Nice nomination. Very good. I'll go from Siebensimmer, panorama, nature, straight into the city and nominate my favourite hotel in Vienna, which I absolutely adore. It's truly a little hidden gem. Why? Because it's a completely 100% digital hotel. That's the Numa Wood. And whenever it's actually available to book, there's indeed always something waiting. Cool rooms. On the Maria Hilfer Gürtel, that's at the end of Maria Hilfer Strasse, that's the main shopping street, so very central, right across from the Naschmarkt. Lovely and simply functional. On the 5th or 6th floor, whether with terraces or without, you get a quiet view over Vienna. It's really wonderful and a joy to come home to, and it feels genuinely peaceful to live there every single day. Why do I like it? You get a code through the app and check in. Meet no one, don't have to speak to anyone. Check out, and the bill's right in the app. It's quite nice sometimes, you know, not all the time, but when you fancy those kinds of occasions now and then. So, my nomination is Numa Wood. On Maria Hilfer Gürtel, a 100% digital hotel, absolutely through and through. Uli, that went really fast again, I must say. We're quite far along now, really well advanced. Can't believe how quickly it's all coming together. That was the 3rd episode. Of our boiled and chopped, that's what I'd call the title today. Why would I call it that today? Because our display. On YouTube, you can see our bubbles you mentioned earlier. They're always so jerky. Exactly.
Too fast and choppy.
Too fast and choppy. So that was episode 3. Boiled and chopped, as you heard it just a little while ago. Today a bit more emotional, no technical dramas, but with a few trend tour ideas. About what really matters most right now for everyone involved. We still haven't finished breakfast. I'm really not satisfied. Really not. No.
Still not. That's an endless tale.
Maybe we'll pick that up again later today. No homework today, no calls to action today. Do it here, do it here. Rate us, recommend us, tell your friends and colleagues. In the Nick, or anywhere else, and please spread the word around.
At a kinky party.
At a kinky party. Let them all live so they'll become our listeners. And with that, we wish you a great start to the year.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Have a really great start to the year, for sure.
Here's to all your good resolutions, not just lasting until mid-January, but for as long as possible, and hopefully even longer. Thanks, Uli.
Thank you, Matthias. This is a production by Food Flow Europe with the truly generous support of Goodbyes. Recordings and mixing, Hottest Hamburg Sound. Visuals and design, Imaginary Birds, Cinzia Chilo. We are very grateful for all of your feedback, comments and suggestions. Leave a comment, we read everyone. Rate the podcast and, of course, subscribe to stay up to date and catch new episodes.
Abgekocht!